I've provided 10,000 days employment to non-white creatives in the UK.
You've gone from being a super high achiever that you didn't even know that you had the capability of being to going in and out of 6 schools and becoming homeless. How did we get here?
Your company's making 6 figures as a non-for-profit company, right? How did you actually get involved in what you're doing right now?
Then at 17, there was 18 even, there was like a life-changing moment where I left London and I didn't come back for a year.
You and YCUK and the company that you guys have built are literally the reason that we're even doing this today. We're in our first studio. Like, it had a view of the London Eye and all that kind of stuff. And that was because of the YCUK team. We loved it. We got involved. We got stuck in. And then here we are a couple years later.
I relate to anything from billionaires to gang members because I've met them both and made money both.
Yes, people, we're back. By this time you're seeing this, is probably way into the new year, but by this time you're seeing this right now, or the time we're recording this, it's a new year. So happy new year. I hope you guys are doing well. But today, we have an amazing guest. And you know what? We are very big on honor, right? Here at Purpose Led, we're very big on honor. So, one of the founding fathers of Purpose Led is here in the building today. This man here opened the doors for us. We always say all the time, when it comes to great things in life, you need great people there to assist you on the journey. When it comes to great things in life, you need great people to assist you on the journey. And this man here has been a pillar in our journey, not only for now, but also for the future. You'll see what's going on there. But today we have Mr. Chris. He is a social entrepreneur and also our coach, but most importantly, an amazing brother. And we're happy to and looking forward to having you on the episode today. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, glad to be here.
How do you find it? How do you find the introduction there?
Yeah, nice. Pretty humbling, to be honest.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for your kind words.
Chris, talk to me. First and foremost, thank you for coming. Thank you for
pleasure.
being here. Like, we're very much happy to have you here. But talk to the people. Talk to us and talk to the people. What exactly is it that you do?
So currently, I co-run Young Creators UK, which is a social enterprise. It's a not-for-profit. It's a creative and production agency that is co-owned and co-run by young people.
Wow.
And what we kind of do is we disrupt multiple sectors. We disrupt the third space, the charity sector, with our innovative funding model. That also disrupts the cultural sector. We challenge youth services because we give young people not just control, we give them equity. They co-own the business with us, right?
As in they own the business with you, as in like they become business owners as well.
Yes, my actual business partner, Yasmin, who you two know, right?
Up, Yas.
Shout out to Yasmin. She owns it 50-50 with me currently, and we're about to give away micro equity to all our contractors.
Amazing.
But Yasmin walked into a youth centre at 16 and met me when I was doing creative workshops. 5 years later, she co-owned a 6-figure creative agency with her former youth worker.
So pause. You said 6 figures. Someone's be thinking, but it's non-profit. Can you explain how those two even align?
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's an innovative funding model, isn't it?
Okay.
So our kind of philosophy is we're humanist. We're kind of very values-led as an organisation.
Yeah.
And I think quite non-compromising in that, which, when you stand for something, I think that's far more investable than when you're just a thing, right?
Yes.
And
that's a big point, by the way, If you stand for something, you're a lot more investable.
Why is that?
That's huge because if so many people are just here, no backbone, no foundation. They want to go for investing, they want to go for funding, but there's nothing there to invest in. So, but what you're saying there is a huge point there.
Yeah, and I think there's a duality to that, right? When you have a mission, clients and backers, supporters, partners, sponsors, but also staff, they can all stand behind a mission, right? People, it lines people up towards a common goal, and it takes away the need for just a charismatic leader or an exciting product because we have a better world we want to create, and we're asking you to come on the journey.
Yeah.
It just so happens that we make the bag and provide a creatively excellent product, and on the way, it's almost a byproduct. You're like, of course I'll take the product.
Yeah.
So I want to see this better world, right?
Yeah.
So with our model, how do we do it? We deliver creative services.
Yeah.
But when you look at the British creative sector, right, there's whole brands out there that feel like they belong to communities. Take Jordan and Nike. They feel like they represent particular parts of the community, right?
Mm-mm.
All those companies, the majority, the UK creative sector is 89% white, 92% upper middle class.
Wow.
So think of the commodification that's going on there. So what we do is we open the back door to the creative sector by giving young, underrepresented talent systems, opportunities, equipment, and placement, and really the mentality to just like fail forwards through challenge-based learning to deliver at that level. And it's interesting, there's always this great moment where people are like, I'm curious about this like socially impactful, curious, unusual thing that's kind of a charity, but it's making a lot of money and it's helping people, and they have a great product, but look how many people they're helping. Like, what is this thing? And then they get the product in their hand and it's competitive with anything else in the market. If anything, a bit cheap for what it is, in my opinion. And this is in a year where we've got our average commission to 5 figures, right? So
average commission is 5 figures.
Average commission, yeah. And
from a team of young people.
And in the month from the last event where we met up, the event you guys came and supported us.
Yeah. Premier.
Yeah, that was our biggest ever commission at 40K. Off the back of that, doubled it, already booked for 80K. And that's the growth.
Let's just put we came to a premiere that you guys ran of a project that you just kind of done, or a commission that you just done or just worked on, and that was for 40K. And off the back of that, you got an 80K deal.
Yeah.
And this is all because of course, yourself and then the other people that are involved, which are like from underrepresented backgrounds, young people. This is nuts, bro.
So it's almost like, imagine the very thing that everyone here is trying to, in the market, is trying to commodify or impersonate, right? Think how much the youth market is and certain cultural trends are worth. Why have you got people, maybe like me, trying to sell to people like yourself who are young, right? Our whole kind of cultural reference frameworks out of school. I didn't grow up with a smartphone. Do you know what I mean? I do not have your spending behaviors, your patterns of behavior, whatever. Why not just have young people selling to young people?
That is so interesting because we see that a lot now with influencers.
Right.
And why don't people take that, like, not that necessarily the influencer culture, but the people that get it and are actually in the target market that they're actually trying to go for, and then use them or work with them to actually be able to reach that target market? It just makes sense. Like what you're saying just makes a lot of sense. And I have to big you up 10 times. We didn't even say this at the start, but you and YCUK and the company that you guys have built are literally the reason that we're even doing this today. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but season 1, if you don't remember, we'll put it in a card, we'll put it there, we'll put it somewhere, it'll probably be in the description. But you'll be able to see when we were in our first studio. Like, it had a view of the London Eye and all that kind of stuff. And that was because of the YCUK team. My boy JJ called me and said, "Hey bro, you should check out this space, you know." Like, we was talking about starting a podcast, and then JJ called us up and then said, "Oh yeah, you guys should check out the space." I came down, checked out the space, brought Rob, he checked out the space too. We loved it. We got involved, we got stuck in, and then here we are a couple of years later, coming all full circle. So appreciate you for that. You really are giving young creatives a chance in the UK.
Thank you.
That's my thing is, we never actually, like, we're never on a project like with the cameras there, but you still helped us out in a way which we can never even fathom. Like, millions of people impacted now around the world. Lives have been saved, changed, and transformed just by you saying yes to us. So don't ever belittle the work you've done. But you know what? We spoke a bit about social work. Why did you in particular get involved?
Social impact.
Social impact.
Social work.
Oh yeah. No,
not
youth work. Not youth work.
Wait, sorry. What's the difference? Social work, youth work, and social impact. Is there much of a difference?
So, like, it's terminology in it. Like, social work, because there are social workers employed by the government, is generally seen as the people who handle like family issues.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So that's what. So you can do a degree in social work.
Okay.
Social impact is literally just a scale of impact that you have on a positive or negative impact in society. Yeah. And then youth work's just working with young people, but it's a scale. So I'm a social entrepreneur. My whole thing is I believe that you can.
Yeah, I like that.
I believe you can. I do not believe that it's binary, that you have to be a bad person to succeed, or you have to be ruthless or cutthroat. You have to be decisive. You have to be clear. You have to have a purpose, a mission, a value. None of those things can be can necessarily make you weaker. You can actually be resolute in your beliefs and incredibly successful, and it's been proven time and again. So I believe that companies can have a much more positive role to play in people's lives. And my general experience I've only been employing people about a decade, is when you, from the start, I treated people with dignity. And if I understood your motivations as a human, even small things, right? If I had 3 videographers on a shoot, and they all quoted me different rates, but I could see they were the same skill set, I would budget for the higher rate and I'd pay them all and I'd tell them all. I'd be like, oh, well, my guy quoted $450 a day. I would never be trying to make a quick 100 a day off someone. And the difference of doing that is every time they answer the phone, it's, yes, Chris, what's up? What are you saying? What can we do?
Yeah, how can we help?
Yeah, they're in it because they know you're not trying to chief them in any way, because my responsibility as an entrepreneur is to get my bag, not chief you out of yours. Do you know what I mean? There are bigger fish up there that I can go and eat from
Of course,
than my guy with a camera. So, like, in my view, it's like, it's kind of us against them, innit? There's this big miscellaneous pool of, like, clients in a positive way. I want to service my clients.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
right? But at the same time,
we love our clients.
We love our clients.
yeah, but I also, I love getting the bag.
Yeah.
So I've kind of decided to always be humanitarian in my work, always invest in people. My company looks after people, and the people look after the company. It's a culture thing, you know?
Okay, quick question, right? So if anyone who's watching this right now, we know you, but I want us to go a bit deeper. So you spoke about so far that you got your company's making 6 figures as a non-for-profit company, right? How did you actually get involved in what you're doing right now?
Okay.
I'm not sure how much we could talk about because of the time of the episode.
Yeah, that's fine. So
I definitely want to get started with this because it's interesting.
So there's 2 parts, right, which I think we got time to cover. There's the start of me in youth work, and there's my own lived experience as a young man in Britain.
Okay.
And one begat the other, right? I had, in my younger days, I had a very difficult, challenging upbringing in some ways, and had a lot of experiences. I went from being in the scholarship set at a very elite school, put into Mensa at 11.
What's Mensa?
It's like a high IQ society.
Oh wow! Okay.
I didn't know about it. I did I'd never stood out because we didn't have SATs when I was at school, so I'd never been tested. I just was coasting along, happy with my Legos and that, writing poems and to be honest, chasing girls at junior school. Right, that was my thing.
Yeah,
and then I got into secondary school and I did an exam and I got one of the highest verbal reasoning scores they'd ever seen. I think it was like 94% or something crazy. And that continued, and it came out that I was quite gifted in a very specific and unusual way. Then I did a Mensa maths test thing, didn't know what I was doing, and I think I got in the top 8% of mathematical minds in the UK at that age. And again, with no training, no one had it. This was raw talent, unfocused, natural ability. And I went from that point at 11 to having gone to another 6 schools out of education and homeless by like 15, 16.
Okay. So in 4 years, like what, 5 years?
Yeah.
4 to 6 years, you've gone from being a super high achiever that you didn't even know that you had the capability of being to going in and out of 6 schools and becoming homeless. Wow. How did we get here?
What?
School, in my experience, doesn't suit disruptive characters like myself. It doesn't suit innovators. Entrepreneurs are famous for getting thrown out of schools, it seems like, and not being suited. Yeah. School, in a large way, is about conformity. It's about teaching conformist ideology and thoughts, and that's not a bad thing. It's also about growth and learning. I'm not going to get into attacking the education system. I think education is vitally important. But it does astound me as someone who now educates himself, develops all the time, who loves learning, that I had such a bad time in education.
Wow. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. The fact that I wasn't conventional basically meant they couldn't put me in a box. When you can't put me in a box, and they'd be like, show me you're working out on the maths. I'm like, there is no working out. Like, I worked out that sum 7 years ago.
Wow.
And I just remember it now. I don't need to work it out. I know that. Move on. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, why are you making me waste my time with this?
Yeah.
And that was the kind of thing. And obviously, other factors in my life at that age, around my home life and other things affected my ability to do homework and attend. And also, a lot of, when something like that suddenly announced to you from nowhere, it creates a lot of pressure. And there's suddenly this huge shadow of potential looms over you. And if you go from normality, atypical junior school kid, to surrounded by very rich, very elite young people who are super bright, very arrogant, all the confidence that comes with being raised around wealth and security, and very healthy in some ways, it was just too much. It was too much change at once, and unfortunately, it coincided with the sort of deconstruction of my core family unit. So my parents separated in that period.
Okay.
And in that process, I was sort of back and forth between them so much. And I got into other things like graffiti and naughtier things, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
It made no difference where I slept. Let's just say my life got to that point. That one day I just didn't want to go home and deal with it, so I didn't. And I was, that's sort of what happened in summary, yeah.
Wow.
Till 17. And then how do we get from 17 to now?
So I had a sort of life, because I was told I was trouble. And
from what age? Well, I'm guessing like school number 2.
School number 2, because I'd come from a better school. And this was still another private school, so another very good school.
Oh, right. So these were private. As in, okay, so the 6 schools, they were all private schools?
No, the first 2 were.
The first, all right.
They got smart after that.
Was this because what? You were smart?
Yeah, it was a combination of things. Bad attitude. Also, there was like other things that schools would pick up on and not want to address. Right. Things that would not slide now. That would trigger all sorts of safeguarding things. But, you know, you got 30 successful kids in a class and you got this one high-need kid drinking resources, school's in trouble. It's easier to just get rid of them. You don't want your league tables affected, especially at a private school. You know, and I was there was good gatekeeping around me, so it's quite hard for people to help me, I would say. So even when well-intentioned people got involved, I was 14, 13. I'm not in control of my destiny at that age. So sort of went in a washing machine of people trying to help me, not being able to get in, being moved around. All sorts of things went on in that period of my life. And unfortunately, a lot of my family members have enduring like mental health conditions that makes them not bad people, but makes them hard people to grow up with.
Got you. So that's what even prompted that 17-year-old move.
Yeah. So then at 17, 18 even, there was like a life-changing moment where after being told I was trouble and going on this sort of spiral.
Yes, people. So if you are liking this episode so far, please do us a favor, please, because it helps us out. It helps this world out. Leave a like, leave a comment. If you're on audio, put the 5 stars there. Trust me, we're on a mission right now. Please just help us grow. Help us help you. So please do that. Have an amazing day and enjoy the episode. Let's go.
I finally got in like the trouble, the big trouble with a group of people who proactively tried to take my life multiple times. And it came to a point where there was a level of violence that they were willing to commit to that was not in my nature as a human. And although there was a specific night after I'd been walking I'll tell the story. I'd been walking where I lived, and I lived on a big hill at the time, and I was walking down the hill, and I saw a car coming up the hill, and this is a big hill, right? So I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to run a car up a hill. Right?
So you look back and you're seeing the car now?
No, the car's coming up the hill towards me.
Oh, and then you can't...
And then I clock who's in the car, and there's like 5 people deep in this car, and none of them like me. The 2 people who particularly want me are in this car, and everyone else is bigger than them. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my days, I'm done.
So you saw a car of trouble?
Yeah, more like a car that could have been life-ending. So as they came onto the pavement at me, so I was like, I got no choice. I ran at the car.
Huh?
Yeah, I ran at it.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Because I don't want to get run from behind, innit? If I'm going to be hurt, I'm going to control how I get hurt. So I ran, skimmed the bumper, kind of rolled over it. I don't remember feeling any pain. All I remember was checking that my limbs still worked and gassing it up the hill, because hitting me made them get out the car because they thought they'd whatever.
Right.
So
they're on a pavement now.
So they've all come up.
Yeah.
I've gone over the thing. People have stopped to look, and I'm thinking maybe someone will help me because I'm still a child, right? I'm still only 17. I was small for my age. I didn't really grow till I was older. So anyway, so they chased me up this. They got out the car, which is what I wanted them to do. Chased me up this hill, and one of them, I remember, had a machete, and I remember feeling, you know, when you feel like the wind, like when something swings, like when your mate swings, like even something like a belt near you.
Yeah.
I literally just felt it run just through the edge of my hair at full speed. And this is a big 6-foot+ dude swinging at my head.
Yeah.
And I just got in my front door, like just.
So, but then they knew where you were living.
Yeah, the people that were on me at that age lived about 400 meters from my house.
That is nuts.
So that happened.
But what stopped them from running in?
I don't know. Like, they were about it up until the front door. I don't know what to say, innit? They were willing to swing at my head in the street with anyway. So I thought and placed myself in a situation where I could make a counter move. I had an opportunity. I was smarter, sneakier. And then I had a choice. And I had the choice of choosing to live or choosing that path. And I left the space where I guess you'd say I had the drop on them, whatever the terminology is. Not that I carried guns, nothing like that. But I had an opportunity where they were vulnerable because I knew them. And I was just like, you're not this. Mm-hmm. This is not, like, I don't know how you ended up here. And I left London and I didn't come back for a year.
Okay, so this is 18. And
yeah, 18. So I left London.
Well, so they tried to get you and you had your chance to get back.
Yeah.
But you said, right, this is a pivotal moment. You maybe didn't even say this, but like, you realize I do not want this life.
Nah. I realized, like, there's a fun to trouble. There's a certain element of fun, especially when you have no self-worth.
Wow.
You know, which I didn't. I had no regard.
Go there, please. That's a big point. Say that again, please.
After being like homeless at 17, you potentially felt that sense of being worth less. Potentially because it's like, okay, this place doesn't want me, this place doesn't want me.
Deeper than that. Part of what led to me leaving home was the way the kind of mental health issues manifested was when my identity formed. It was utterly like rejected by my family.
Oh, right.
Of members of my family. It was a very challenging period. And in fact, the more gifted I became, and the more my gifts manifested, the more challenging it became for others who didn't realize they were threatened by it, but they were.
Intimidated.
Yeah, it was a challenge, you know. I didn't know this. Like, I didn't ask to be given a very high IQ.
Yeah.
I was just a child. In other families, you know, I'd have been doing every club activity and invested in, you know. I never had like a paid for hobby, like a language or an instrument or anything like that. Not that I had holidays, I had a house, you know, so some markings of a middle class life. But it was definitely like, it was like my gifts brought a bill to the family, an expensive uniform. Do you know what I mean? And I remember being like, I just couldn't take the burden of that, to be honest, you know. Yeah. So it wasn't like a blessing for me at all. The moment that happened, everything changed for me in a very bad way. And then in school, I didn't fit. I found it hard to make friends. I went through a period when I was like 14 where I decided I'd stop speaking to see how long it would be before someone noticed I hadn't spoken, whether the school would pick it up. And I got to 3 months and no one had clocked that I hadn't spoken.
Sorry, what?
3 months.
I was
no, not my.
What
Yeah.
do you mean? You just speak for 3 months.
Didn't speak out loud for 3 months. I wanted to see, because I had been so put in this place, I wanted to see how long it would go. And I remember the school put me in one of the boarding houses because of my home life. and a girl, oh my gosh, just to double up, teenage boy, older girl that I really fancied comes into the kitchen. I think her name was Hannah. Anyway, I had a mad crush, and she spoke to me. She was the first person to speak to me directly, conversationally, in 3 months. And because I hadn't spoken, my voice came out mad. Like,
3 months of no talking.
Yeah. Well, I just stopped.
At home as well?
Yeah. No one noticed.
So did you feel neglected at that time?
There's a lot that went there that I don't think is really appropriate to get into, or I'm not that comfortable. But yeah, that's that's symptomatic of where my life was at that age. So when your gifts have alienated you, they've taken you away from your peers. Also, where I lived, wearing that school uniform got me jumped every day. Because everyone thinks you're rich, because every other kid who went there was rich. They haven't heard of assisted places or scholarships or secondhand uniform sales.
So I want to talk about that bit, because obviously you're on a social cultural work, right? We spoke about a minute ago how 89% of that work is rich upper class people.
Yeah.
And obviously you have not come from the rich upper class environment, but people naturally will assume you're from that environment. How do you deal with that stereotype, or the stereotyping from the people, and also just the assumption that you're from this, even though you actually lived a life whereby you understand it and also trying to help people get out to the other side, as opposed to look at it from like I want to come and profit off this. How do you deal with that?
So I think it's twofold. I think as like a white male in society, there's natural privileges I'm born into, and like obviously you have to acknowledge that. And I don't think the prejudice that I face there, that people assume I'm from somewhere better than I am, is worse in any way than how most young people are treated in Britain, or women are treated, or whatever. Anyone from a non sort of privileged or mainstream cultural space, anyone from the margins coming in, they'll have assumptions made about them immediately, right? You both well have faced it, right? You will get treated walking into certain rooms differently to how I will. That's just how society's rigged. So on one level, it doesn't bother me, right? Because it's like my little 1% where I'm not comfortable in society is not as big as the spaces. But I think professionally, when people then see your work and your values and the life you live, and then they still assume it's easier to kind of put you in a box, I don't think I should have to tell my story to be like worthy of empathy. Do you know what I mean? There is like a huge privilege that comes from being able to look and talk like me, but there are also non-visible forms of marginalization. The journey I've walked, it is more likely that I would be an addict dead or in jail than a functioning adult right now, significantly. Yeah. I'm like less than a 1% shot, right? And when you get to less than 1%, you're basically talking zero. If you add up the contributing factors that I survived in youth and adolescence to becoming a happily married, functional, successful male who actually manifests his life, still battle my mental health.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next time. Yeah.
So I think I've never wanted to sell my story. I kind of wanted to talk on here because you guys know me, and I don't talk about this side of me very often. But there's a reason I can relate to anything from billionaires to gang members.
Wow.
Because I've met them both and made money with both.
Any big personality differences?
I think people who have been through struggle are kinder. Even with people from maybe the more street background, there's still like a codes they recognize a real one. Do you know what I mean? Like that saying, would they back it? Right? The difference between knowing someone backs you in that part of your world, you know when someone's really about it, right? Like you two have this great relationship where you know whatever happens, you've got each other's back, and those relationships are critical. And I think that's one of the things, like that's a skill I accumulated from that world, being a very skinny, well-spoken white boy in doing very naughty things, where I definitely shouldn't have survived it, let alone thrived.
Wow.
You know, I've only met 4 billionaires in the last 2 years. I met 4 billionaires.
Hold on a sec. You said only. You met a billionaire per quarter.
Billionaire per quarter. 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
biannually.
Billionaire every 6 months.
biannually.
Biannually, exactly.
Converted 2 of them to clients.
Converted 2 of them to...
Really?
The 2 worst ones.
Wow.
Okay.
Their money was easier to take.
Right.
Yeah.
Billionaires versus bangers.
Mm.
I didn't think that the episode would get here. But guys, we do have to bounce. Unfortunately, today was a very short one. The thing is with Chris, we usually have very long conversations, so this is very out of the ordinary for us. It's usually like a good couple hours that we'll be chopping out with Chris. But unfortunately, today we just did not have the time. But what we do want to do is get you back for another round. So literally round 2.
Yeah.
And you're more than welcome. And I'm very much looking forward to it. I know the people are looking forward to it because next time we're going to be speaking more about, I guess, you personally and about the stuff you're going to be doing, the stuff that you currently do. Basically, more of the same, more of what we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
And yeah, anything else that I missed?
No, man. I mean, all I'm gonna say is just keep on inspiring the people, man. Like as I said to you, you are a huge pillar into what you've done, into what you've done, into what we've done in our careers. And you said downstairs that you've helped 10,000 people get.
I've provided 10,000 days employment to non-white creatives in the UK.
That's incredible.
I think I was trying to do my net figures the other day, and I don't know, we're probably up to like 40k ish opportunities net, something like that. And this is all unfunded work. This is helping people and helping them make money while we make money, right? So those, yeah. I don't believe that people should be serviced for free. I'm not trying to feed people. I'm trying to build farms. Do you know what I mean? I believe young people have value, therefore they should be paid for their contributions to society, and people should pay for that contribution because their voice is powerful and valid in the market space. You spend all this money impersonating it on your apps, you know, yeah. So all of that is real paid work. But it's bigger than that. I'll come back by part 2. I'll have my net figures and it'll be crazy.
No, please do, man. But as I just want to say, we really do appreciate you, sincerely speaking. I'm sure the 10,000 people, or the X amount of people who've been serviced and helped by you also appreciate you too, man. And
thank you.
Keep on doing what you're doing, brother, man.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
People appreciate you as well. Well, you better appreciate it. That's the reason why you're looking at what you're looking at right now. That's the reason why purpose-led is leading and it's leading. You know what I mean? And we're doing what we're doing. It's because of where we started. So I appreciate you and the YCUK team.
You guys always had it. That's why I liked you too. When you walked in, I can still remember first meeting the pair of you, and we straight away got into it.
I remember.
And whatever, some people, when they have ambition combined with talent and work ethic, all they need is traction. That's all you two needed. So you can big me up, but all I did really was stop and say, yeah, keep going. That was it. Really, you could put a complex narrative, but that was it. Now you got it. Keep going. Here's the tools. Crack on. Do you know what I mean? And look at what you guys built. You should be very proud of yourselves.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, bro. And that's all some young creatives need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them need. But guys, unfortunately, we have to cut it there. It's been a pleasure. It's been amazing. First time back in the stew.
Yeah, my New Year
2025.
New Year save us, man.
Yeah,
Still pushing, man. Still feeding the people, still feeding the streets, man.
So guys, that is all we have time for today. I've been and still am Jonathan.
And I am and still will be Robert Pittsay.
And I am and still will be Christoff Taylor.
Let's
go.
Purpose led.
Love for watching. Back, go. Wow.
Peace.